It's not another time, it's the same day, but I have to stop these, otherwise they take forever to upload, you know, and I'm impatient. I'm such an impatient person. I can't stand here trying to upload freaking videos. Anyway, right, so we lost the submarine, and we came back to shore with that straight hook like that. Anyway, my father, who was not the kind of guy to give up, he was a nutcase, he went shopping the next week for the biggest hooks he could find. And eventually, somewhere in Cape Town, I don't know where the hell he did, but somewhere in Cape Town, he found 2 monster hooks. I kid you not, hooks this size, like as thick as my finger. Hooks that thick, big monster hooks. And I don't even know who would have ever made hooks like that. It actually didn't look like real. It looked like something you put on a mantelpiece for show, but they were real hooks. One was a bit smaller than the other. And my dad said to the guy, he said, what do you buy these hooks for? He said, the guy said, I don't even remember how I got these hooks because they've been here for so long, because nobody buys hooks this size. Anyway, my dad bought those 2 hooks, and he went and bought winch cable to winch a boat up, like nearly as thick as my finger, my little finger like that. And he bought this copper pipe, and we made the stress with a big monster hook like that, and this winch cable, and these copper pipes for crimps. And we made this cable like 8 or 9 meters long. I can't remember exactly, but we made this cable long enough, and the idea behind it was that we would make loops. So the hook would be here, over here, and then above, 2 meters above the hook, we looped the cable. So we looped like 5 or 6 meters like that, and we kept the loop together with little copper wires. And the idea with that was that when the submarine grabbed that hook and took off, we'd snap the copper wires, we'd have all the slack cable in the water, and we'd give the shark time to swallow the bait, and we could hook it deep, which sounds terribly cruel, but in those days, we didn't even think about it. We were hunting the submarine, so we wanted to nail this thing and kill it in the quickest time possible. And that was the idea. And then we still had the 20 or 25 liter black float, and then onto the rod and reel. But anyway, so we went out literally the next weekend. I can't remember if it was a Saturday or Sunday, but we were out on the water the next weekend. And we went to the same reefs off Macassar Beach. We dropped the anchor, and that day there were no little sharks, but we were hooking redfish, the red Roman and red stumpnose. So we pulled up red Roman and red stumpnose. My father took 3 or 4 red stumpies, probably 3, and he threaded them onto the hook, live bait. And because great white sharks love red stumpnose, they go crazy for them. And we threw these red stumpnose in the water, and we put the whole thing out, everything out there. And we waited, and we waited. And that day, it was Trevor Grant, my father, myself, and my best friend, Devin Gillespie, on the boat. And Devin didn't particularly like the sea, but I had been going on and on about this great white shark that he had to come and see what it was all about. And we were both the same age, and I think we were like 12 and a half years old or whatever. Anyway, we get out there, we put the bait out, and we wait, because that's what you do. And we carry on catching fish. No chum, we didn't even know about chum. And if we chummed, the sharks would have been all over us. But eventually, a couple of hours later, 2-3 hours later, the sun was burning on us. It was probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I can't completely remember, but it was a beautiful day. The sea was flat. It looked like a sheet of glass. And next thing, boom. Without any warning, there's a submarine. Right by us. I mean, just like, boom, she's there. And she's cruising around with that huge dorsal fin sticking out the water, and the tail just slicing big chunks out of the ocean like that. She's cruising around us. And she didn't go for the bait straight away. She just cruised around. Looked at us, she came up to the boat, bumped us. And our hearts are beating. And I remember Devin already getting afraid. And Devin's like, oh, but Uncle Theo, the shark's so big. My father's name said, Uncle Theo, the shark's so big, it's so big. Anyway, eventually the shark goes down, the submarine goes down, and it grabs the bait. And it takes off. And it probably swallowed the bait a little bit, but it took off. Boom. And the drum, that 20-liter drum, goes skidding across the surface again, and suddenly, like a torpedo into the depths. And the reel screaming, like screaming, line peeling off that reel. And my father jumps into the fighting chair like that. He clips himself in. He's got the leather harness. He clips it in. Takes up that rod. He tightens the drag, and he's into it. Wow, he's into that submarine. And he's shouting orders to me. So the plan is, we had a plan. As soon as you hook the shark, anchor would come up, and I would drive the boat, and Trevor Grant would go and pull the anchor up because the shark could just run all that line off. It was so huge. If it just ran in one direction, we just run all that 1,200 meters of Dacron just got gone. So what we needed to do, we needed to circle the shark to try and keep it in the same area like that, like a box in a ring. So the shark's just going. My father can't stop it. It's just going, it's just going and going and going. And it's running, and he's screaming, "Get that fucking anchor up! Get the fucking anchor up!" And I start the engines, we get the anchor up, and I said, "Why do we do that?" And he says, "Just circle, circle." So I put the boat into gear and start circling, and it just takes the pressure off. My father can actually start getting some of the line back. So he's fighting this thing, and he's pulling the line back, and he's pulling the line back. And basically what happened for the next hour, just hour and a half, probably an hour and a half, that drum was just gone. That huge shark was dragging that 20-liter resistance through the water, just like that, gone. You can imagine the pressure on that shark. And it was gone for at least an hour and a half, probably more than an hour and a half. And then suddenly, boom, the line snapped. Oh, no, not suddenly, boom. My father was leaning into it. He was pulling like this, and the line snapped. Wow. And he almost fell off the fighting chair, and that rod almost hit him in the face. But it's got a resting gear, so it stopped. And what happened, the front, it's got roll eyes, the front eye on that rod seized. And it obviously got hot or something and burnt the Dacron off. And it was gone, boom, and the shark was gone. And my father was, "Oh, for fuck's sake," he was like freaking out. And we were all stunned, but then suddenly we realized, hang on, the shark is still hooked and the shark still got the drum. And we realized that at some point, the shark had to come to the surface. And it was a flat day, fortunately. So we'd see it somewhere. And we just sat there and we slowly made big circles like that. And we waited and waited. And we made a lasso. My father took a rope. He made a lasso because the plan was that once the drum came to the surface, we would go up to it and throw the lasso over the drum and actually lasso the drum, attach it to the boat, and then fight the shark with a rope and a lasso. And we sat there for another 40 minutes, probably 45 minutes. And then eventually, way in the distance, 600-700 meters away, there was a little black blip. We saw it and we looked, okay, we ran over and realized it's the drum. And we ran over to this little black spot and we got there and it was the drum. And it was very eerie because the ocean was calm, it looked like oil, and this drum was just moving along the water surface like that. And we idled up to the drum, and as soon as we got there, obviously the shark could hear us, and the drum went, gone again, gone. And it was like, fuck, anyway. So now the drum was gone for another 45 minutes, and it popped up. The third time it popped up, we managed to get up to it, and my father idled up, and the shark was probably so panicked and so exhausted and injured by this that, it could only hold the drum under for so long. I mean, its weight could probably bring it down, but it was probably a release on the pain in that from the hook when it came to the surface and the drum was floating there. And we came up to the drum, and my father was at the controls, and he idled up to the drum was there, and he idled up to it like that. And it actually bumped the boat. I remember this hollow sound, boom, boom, against the boat. And he took the lasso and he dropped it over the drum, and he lassoed that drum, around because there was a drum there and there was a cable, so put the lasso there, so the drum was lassoed. And he started paying out slack. He just started paying out rope like that, like 30 meters of rope. And we stopped and the shark cruised away from us like that. And eventually the rope pulled tight. Oh God, I've only got 8 minutes and 49 seconds. Okay. This is a longer story than this, so I have to stop here. Anyway, the rope pulled tight, like that. And the submarine started dragging us through the water. So it was a great idea. I mean, now the shark's got a drum and a 20-foot boat to drag through the water. Obviously, we're going to kill this animal. We're going to totally destroy it at some point. But now I have to stop because I've got to make another video. Shit. Anyway.